Hi guys, and welcome back to World of Tanks, and today I'm going to be taking a look at, well, this is the first tank that I earned, the first premium tank that I earned last year, probably around March time I think it was, when this was earnable on the PlayStation 4 and you had to earn, I think it was around 20,000 XP in a regular Panzer Pz to get it. Now back then it had very low bonuses on it. I think it was around 0 silver and 5 or 10% XP bonus. That has been changed now, and in the next week or two, I think it's the next few weeks, let's put it that way, this is coming to the store for people who didn't earn it to purchase it. And I think I'm right in saying that you've not had this yet on Xbox, and this will be the first time that it's on Xbox for you, so I thought I'd take a quick look at it. I'm not going to spend too much time on it because basically, apart from very slight increases to concealment thanks to the perma camo, this is exactly the same as a regular Tech Tree Panzer 4H, fully upgraded with the longer 76mm. Yeah, to think then. So I don't want to spend too much time on it. This is mostly for people who are either new to the game or are not familiar with the Panzer 4H, not been through it yet. So it gets no preferential matchmaking because it is basically the same as the Tech Tree version, so it does see up to tier 7. It gets a 35% silver bonus and a 40% XP bonus. Now the Tankopedia has it listed at the moment at 1,619 gold. However, that may have changed from earlier. I'm not entirely sure, but that's what it's listed at as the moment. At the moment, obviously, it will be in various packages, I assume, in the store at different prices. 480 points, and like I say, it's exactly the same as the Tech Tree one. So I'll spend a little bit of time just going over a few of the details. Like I said, for those of you that are new or are unfamiliar with this tank line. 440 horsepower engine. It's 7.5 centimeters, sorry, not 76. Kpfw 40 L48, 15 rounds a minute, 110 penetration, 110 damage, 158 on your APCR premium rounds, 110 again, 38, 175 on your HE, 2.3 second aiming time, quite a poor accuracy at 0.39, that control you a little bit, hull traverse of 32 degrees a second, and a turret traverse of 44 with a 350 meter view range, 710 meter signal range. Like I said, it is exactly the same as the fully upgraded Tech Tree version. And this is when, I think it's really when some of the traits of the German mediums really start to show, which is the slightly slower hull traverse than their sort of American or British counterparts. I nearly forgot the most obvious difference, apart from concealment, is the fact that it is done up like, and this is where I do fall down. I do enjoy anime, but recently the only anime I've actually kept up with is Naruto and Naruto Shippuden, or Shippuden, however you pronounce it. I think it's Shippuden, but anyway, Naruto is the only one that I've been keeping up with, so I've not seen Girls and Panzer yet. But I think I do remember seeing that some people were saying that the rear of this, or the rear of the turret, is not quite the same as it is in Girls and Panzer, but it does have the same paint job as it does in Girls and Panzer. And I think really this is for people who are fans of the anime, with it being with it being the same as the Tech Tree version. Equipment wise, I went for a gun lane drive because the aim time is not great. I went for a gun rammer because it does have a good rate of fire, so why not increase it even more. And I went for vents. You could go for coated optics. I didn't really want to spend that much on it for this review. You can see I've not got much XP on it. I did sell this not long after I earned it, because I didn't know what I was doing. I'd only just started to play the game and was disappointed with the low bonuses. Since then I've basically put in an exception to get it back, and just had it sort of sat there just because it's in the collection really, and I like anime, and that was kind of it, and it was free, so there you go. But yeah, I've not really been out in it much. Now that it's had the buff to the bonuses, I think I probably will take it out a little bit more. Not too often, but I will use it as a crew trainer now. Whereas before it wasn't in my rotation. I mean, I've got a lot of German premiums, as you can see, and it wasn't in my rotation for my crew trainers, but like I said, now with the bonuses, it definitely will be in there. I just stick a crew in each one and just do the daily double in it, and it's surprising how quickly you can actually get them done up. Supplies wise, same as it is for the Tech Tree one. 70 for your armour piercing, 2,800 for your APCR, and 38 for your high explosive. Skills wise, well, I've just stuck my Panther 2 crew in, which I bought back recently, so to be honest, not far off with those 4 for the starting skills. Maybe chuck a Brothers in Arms in there as well, but yeah, camouflage, sixth sense, situational awareness, and repairs. You've got decent frontal armour, and when you're top tier, that can actually save you, especially at medium range. However, medium range, your accuracy can let you down. But again, I don't want to spend a lot of time on it because, you know, it's the same. I know I keep saying that, but it is. It cannot take any customization options. No camo, no inscriptions, no... do you know, my mind, I've just had a complete and utter brain fart. Emblems, of course. God, I just went full retard then. Yeah, massive brain fart. But yeah, you can't put anything on it. There are no customization options at all. Now, module wise, and again, as far as I can tell, they're in the same places. The engine does give it a fairly decent power to weight ratio of 17.64. Its acceleration is definitely not in question. It does have a limited top speed of 40 kilometers an hour. I feel that it could go faster than that, and in fact you can get up to about 50 going downhill. But yeah, power to weight ratio is more than adequate. It does power itself up hills quite nicely. In fact, in a match earlier I was going up a hill next to a T-34 and I was overtaking him, so yeah, you know, it can power itself along quite nicely. And you know, it was a good tank in the war. The H version was apparently the most produced of the Panzer Pz tank, so there you go. They must have been doing something right. 18 kilometers an hour in reverse, which isn't too bad. I think normally the highest you get is around 20. There is the odd tank that's a bit better than that, but yeah, it's normally 20. But you do have quite a high chance of fire at 20%, and you've got that piece of the engine down on the hull floor there as well. Now, gun depression is quite good on these. It's minus 10 degrees, which is quite nice, so you can use the ridge lines, and it does really limit the amount of vulnerable armour you're exposing at the front. However, unfortunately, as with quite a few of these lower tier ones, the weakest part is the front of the turret, but we'll cover that in a moment. You've got 20 degrees of gun elevation, which is fine, definitely workable with that. In fact, most tanks have an average of around that. I think there's a few that have a bit more, there's a few that have less, but yeah, 20 is more than enough. You shouldn't have any problems if anything gets above you. The concealment I was mentioning earlier, it is 0.03 higher, so on the normal Panzer IV it's 0.26 stationary and 0.20 moving, and on this it's 0.29 and 0.23, and that's stationary and moving, sorry. Now your tracks, they are quite open, quite a few gaps in there, and they are fairly thin tracks, so there are quite a few gaps for you to shoot through. Turret on top, where you'd expect it to be. And I always do that, and in fact somebody messaged earlier, left a comment saying it always makes them laugh when I do that, but you know, like with the auto loaders, the turret and gun configuration for the actual module damage is quite odd. The radio itself is in the centre, the front of the hull. Some big ammunition blocks. There's one just behind the driver's seat, I think that is, and then there's a large one on the left hand side of the tank, more or less the whole size of the turret. Front to back, and basically just behind the bazooka plate. On the other side it's roughly in the middle of the turret, and again just behind the bazooka plate, so there are plenty of options there if you want to try and ammo rack one of these. Oh, something I want to mention, again I've not checked against other tier 5s, but the shell velocity on the armour piercing on this, they do feel a little bit slow. So that is something you do feel. I do feel like I have to lead targets a little bit more when I'm in this one. And there's a lot of people who don't like the Panzer IV. I really don't like the Panzer III-4, which basically has the same gun but a slightly less rate of fire. And it's down to it having to use it at sort of medium ranges, medium to long range in a tier 7 match. The accuracy just isn't there, and neither is the pen. But it's you know, it swings and roundabouts. It's not a bad tank in tier 5 matches, and tier 6 it's quite capable flanker. Anyway, back to the crew. Driver down in the front, right hand side is where we're looking, with the radio operator to the left of him. And then up in the turret you've got the commander under his commander's hatch, and the loader and the gunner sat up there as well. Now, armour wise, well, again, it's exactly the same. So you're talking 80 on the front, which is fairly decent, but then you've got 30 on the sides, 20 on the rear, and the turret, which is well, the turret front is the weak spot from the front, really. 50 on the front, 30 on the sides and rear. So let's have a look at the actual values. Well, 1 to 20, your bazooka plates fall under that category and do act as spaced armour, as do your tracks, and the sloped upper glacis falls under that bracket as well. Now, if that's 20mm thick, if you're shooting one of these from the front and you've got a 60mm gun or higher caliber, or 60mm caliber or higher, yeah, that makes more sense, then you can actually have a good chance of overmatching. In fact, technically 60mm should overmatch that upper glacis, which means that it doesn't matter the angle of it, you hit it and it should pen. The front deck falls under that bracket as well, as does the engine deck, the rear of the tank, which is only 20mm, and the bazooka plates around the turret, which do again act as spaced armour and will protect your turret from being penned by HE. These sling HE with 38mm of penetration, and the side of your turret is only 30mm, I think I said. My mind's gone today again, yeah, 30mm. So if you didn't have the bazooka plates, there's a good chance that an HE from one of these things could pen and do a lot of damage. So they are quite handy for staving off HE rounds. The top of the turret, only the front slope portion though, and the top of the commander's hatch. 21 to 30, that's the lower glacis, or the sloped lower glacis, if you will. The entire side of the tank falls onto that bracket, apart from that small strip at the back top rear, if I can get my words out properly. A thin strip around the top of the commander's hatch. So again, if you're shooting at the commander's hatch, it's the very top of it you want to be shooting at, and I'll show you why in a second. And the sides and rear of the turret also fall into that bracket as well. 31 to 50, that's the front of the turret and the gun mantle. And if you're struggling to pen one of these from the front and you can't hit the sloped sort of upper glacis, or you're not penning that, try the front of the turret either side of the gun mantle. It is a flat 50mm, so it's probably the easiest place on the front to pen one of these if you're struggling to get through the hull, if you're sort of similar tier or lower tier, so that might be an option. 71 to 90, well, that's your 80mm at the front, and that is the plate in front of the driver, the driver's slot and the radio operator, and there are no weak spots in that at all, but it is just a fairly flat 80mm. And what I would call sort of the lower glacis, mid glacis, that's just a flat 80mm as well. It does have a slight reverse slope to it, but like I say, from the front, if you can't pen those bits and you've got a 60mm higher gun, try and overmatch the... I just keep having brain farts. I don't know what's wrong with me. I think I need to get a bit more sleep. The upper glacis, or through the flat of the turret either side of the gun mantle. And then the thickest part on the entire tank is a band around the commander's hatch. So yeah, a bit of a false weak spot there. The commander's hatch on a lot of tanks is usually a weakness. On this it is not, so don't shoot the commander's hatch if you can help it. Try and go for those other spots. Now, I have spent a bit more time on this than I actually planned. I'm sure a lot of you will have probably skipped this, and only people unfamiliar with it or new to the game will have probably watched the garage bit, so I do apologise, I've rambled on for a bit long. But let's get into the replays and see how it actually handles. So here we are for the replays. This is the first one. It's a tier 5 match, Live Oak Standard Battle, and like I said in the garage, this is mostly aimed at sort of newer players that are well, like I say, new to the game, or people that are unfamiliar with this line. They still might be fairly new, not gone down the Panzer 4H, or well, through the Panzer 4H, should I say. And for anybody else, I think you've probably learnt what you needed to know in the first couple of minutes of the garage review, is, that it's the same as a Panzer 4H, just fully upgraded one. And it may have sounded as though I'm, a bit down on it because of that, and I'm not really, not at all. It's it's not a bad tank, it's not a great tank. The Panzer 4H, personally, I think it's quite an average tier 5 medium. It doesn't particularly excel in any area, but it doesn't particularly fail in any area. I suppose that, like I said before, the accuracy can be a bit trollish, especially at sort of range. But it's the same sort of problems that you're going to experience, or that you will have experienced with the Panzer 3-4, etc. Anything with this gun, it's a pretty standard German gun and is on a lot of tanks. at the sort of same tier, and yeah, it's just sometimes the pen can let you down a little bit. Sometimes it doesn't. I mean, you compare it to sort of, say, the M1A1 on the Sherman. I think, what's that, 128 pen, I think, something like that. So it is slightly lower. But I've managed to set that KV1 on fire, which is nice, and a second time as well. A couple of shots did bounce. In fact, that one just bounced there. But he's burnt to death, so that's a nice chunk of damage to start this match off. And it's not a great match. It's not a bad match. That's definitely helped towards the damage that I do at the end. I do a fair amount of damage, but don't forget I am top tier. In fact, I think both of these replays may be top tier. Now, while I'm trundling along here looking for something to shoot, I was expecting more of a resistance down here. In fact, any kind of resistance down here, but it doesn't seem that the enemy team has come this way at all. And yeah, do you know what? Complete brain fart again. I can't think what I was going to say now. That's it, yeah. It's come back to me. I don't know what's up with me today. Yeah, both of these I think I'm top tier. When you are in a tier 6 match, you do have to play it a bit more cautiously against the tier 6s and keep yourself at sort of medium range and play a more supporting role. You can angle yourself a little bit, but you've got weak, you know, you do a fairly weak side armour. Your frontal armour's not too savage. But, as I said in the garage, the front of your turret is a weakness, your commander's hatch is not particularly. And the sloped upper glacis, or the sloped plate at the front, that sort of leads back to the flat plate where the driver's hatch is, or the driver's viewport, should I say. That can be a bit of a weak spot, down to the fact that, you know, a 60mm or above, and a lot of these have got 75mm guns, should be able to overmatch that if you can hit it. And in tier 7 matches you are going to have to keep yourself at range, but then you do have the added problem of the penetration. I do apologise if that motorbike nailing it down the road has come through on the microphone. But yeah, the penetration can lay down in a tier 7 match at range, as can the accuracy, and you will find yourself firing some of the premium ammunition. Now, when I went through the Panzer Pz, I actually used the 10.5cm howitzer on it more than I used this. I just found it was more fun. Yes, it's, you know, half the rate of fire at 7.5 rounds a minute, but with 53 penetration, when you're top tier, you can pen, you know, there's a lot of tanks you can pen with that, and you're doing about 410 damage roughly. Or that's the average, so, you know, it might be half the rate of fire, but if you can hit and pen, it's 4 times the damage nearly. So, you know, it does work out, and obviously the advantage of that is in tier 7 matches. Even though you're not penning, you're still doing damage, you're blowing tracks off, you're doing module damage, etc. But that's kind of a moot point, because you don't have that on this one. You've got the 75. But as you can see, in tier 5 matches, it's a very adequate tank. When you're top tier, you can really, you really can do quite a bit of damage in this. If you angle it right, or you use it on the ridge lines, you can bounce. You can bounce a few shots. You don't sit on the ridge line, turret front, remember. But yeah, you can do a few. Now, at this point, this is where I possibly made a mistake. I'm going back to try and reset cap. We'd got somebody capping already, which I thought was a good move, and I expected the enemy team to come back and try and reset cap, but instead what they've done is they've all just piled into our cap. There's a Vanquisher here basically holding me up, and because those 3 have gone into cap, yeah, it looks like they're going to cap out first. Unfortunately, I was kind of expecting the medium in the swamp to maybe go back, hopefully try and intercept it, but there just wasn't enough time. And as I get over here, I get tracked, managed to take out another enemy heavy, but basically it's over. So, I don't know, maybe I cocked that one up, maybe I should have just gone to the enemy cap and capped out with the rest of, with the other guys up there. I don't know. My intention was to get back and reset cap. I did not expect the enemy team to go in there. But anyway, came out of that with a high caliber, first class mastery, and just over 2,100 damage done. So yeah, it was a decent match for me XP wise. 958 base because it was a loss, but that was still enough for a first class mastery. Actually, I think it goes off your base possibly. You don't see many gups knocking about, and I think it was because of the very low bonuses on it, and the fact that it is the same as the fully upgraded tech tree one. And a lot of people weren't keen on it. A lot of people didn't mind it, but they didn't particularly like it because, again, like I said before, they just felt it was quite an average tank. And you know, I suppose it is. Like I say, not a bad tank, not a great tank, very average, quite capable and solid. But for fans of the anime, and that's what this is really for, it's for fans of the anime, it'd make a nice little collection to your garage, I would have said. So here we are for the second match. I think this one is a tier 5 again. It's Severagorsk. I know I've just seen that. I really didn't pay much attention, and I must stop doing that. I've just gone back and had a look, and yeah, it is a tier 5 match, and it's, well, an encounter, as you can see. And I'm top tier again, so I'm going to head... Well, I'm going to push down this sort of raised valley on the eastern side of the map. And I was expecting a fair amount of resistance going this way. I was also kind of expecting maybe a couple of guys to come up this way with me. Now there is a tank destroyer making his way through here, and in some ways it was possibly good that nobody came with me, because, well, the enemy team didn't really go down this way. It turns out they did kind of just pile into Cap and push down the raised valley on the western side of the map over on the other side. So, yeah, you know, again, swings and roundabouts. If more people had come this way, there was a chance we might have swept around. You know, I am kind of giving away the ending here. But there was a chance we could have possibly swept around into the rear of the enemy because they didn't come this way. There's a chance that it just would have tied up more of our tanks doing nothing, and, yeah, you know, it could have just gone bad. But as it happens, I couldn't get shots on anybody in the Cap, but there is a lone tier 4 heavy up this way, type 95. Not much armour on those things, so it's going to be just a case of chipping away at his health. And if he's, depending on which gun he's got, they do have one that fires HE, so it could do damage to me with the HE shells. But again, thanks to the bazooka plates on the side and the side of the turret, it does protect your weaker parts from HE, because they will go off when they hit the bazooka plates, or the well, yeah, the bazooka plates on the side or on the turret. And with it having such thin armour, you know, with 75mm HE, there's a good chance of it penning the side of the turret or the side of the hull if they weren't there. Now, I managed to take out the Japanese heavy, and I was trying to sort of edge my way down towards Cap, and bit of a noob mistake, I'd forgotten about this guy. I had seen him over near the spawn beforehand when the Type 91 showed up, but I did completely forget about him. That was a mistake. I did take a little bit of damage from him, nothing savage, 40 damage, but what it's also done is it's held me up trying to kill him, and you can see what I'm on about with the accuracy there. It just kept, well, it kept missing or whatever, but yeah, that can let you down at range. And that is unfortunate in tier 7 matches, because you are going to have to fight at range, because just about everything, well, in fact, no, yeah, everything at tier 7 is going to give you a very, very hard time. So, it's now looking quite poor on our team. This is more of an average match for me in this. And yeah, it's looking quite bad for our team. We are 5 tanks down. Now, I knew that RT had come from this direction somewhere. I do take a bit long aiming, and then I completely cock the shot up and miss. So yeah, I've now got to chase RT down, and well, the idea was, you know, we were 5 tanks down, we still had a few left. I was going to take out RT, and then I don't have to worry about a high explosive shell raining down from the heavens and sending me back to the garage. But because I missed that shot, I've taken too long about it. There he is. One's not enough to kill him, so I decided to ram him instead. And then I'm going to use my repair kit to get my tracks back up and get the hell out of here, because they know where I am and I'm the last guy left. And maybe using my repair kit might not have been the best idea there, maybe waiting out and taking a chance, but I headed towards Cap until I wasn't spotted, and then I've split off to the right to hopefully disguise where I am. There's the T1 Heavy. That's not good news, he's on very full health. That's a very bad thing, and then I get spotted by a medium on my right. He jams my turret, which means that I completely miss that shot when I turn. I've now got to wait for my turret to be fixed, and I've got no repair kit. That's going to slow down my turret traverse. My gun's damaged as well, so that's really not going to help with the accuracy already being a bit on the poor side. But I do catch a break and manage to hit the T28, but just once. And I really need to take him out because I am between a rock and a hard place. Here comes the M4 behind me. And now I'm getting... yeah, that's it, I'm done. They knew where I was stuffed. But that's more of an average match for me and more of a sort of average damage sort of result as well. Around 1,000 is sort of an average for me in that tank. Like I say, it's not one of my favourites. It's pretty average, but it did put me at the top of the table. Our team did get ruffle stomped though, but you can see 17 shots fired, 9 hit, 8 penned. Well, there you go, the Girls and Panzer 4H. I hope you've enjoyed that episode. I hope it's at least told you what you needed to know about it, and it should be hitting the stores sometime over the next few weeks. I'm not entirely sure when. I think it was in the April news update, so it's probably in my April news update video, possibly. But there you go. Anyway, I'll be back tomorrow with another video for you, so until then, take care of that, and I'll catch you next time. See you later.